Hey, hello. Hi, Flying VS. Miss B, Rebecca's in the house. I am glad to see you. I need to change this to live chat, so let me fix that real quick. And I have my phone like balanced on a, block, like an alphabet block, so hopefully I won't send it flying. All right, live chat is on, and I think it's just you and me. I didn't get it started much early. You've been absent for a couple weeks, and I guess since you're here, you're not in Santa Rosa at the Heirloom Seed Expo. So what's going on in your life while we are waiting for other people to come in? I had a shower today, so that's nice, but I didn't have time to fix my hair, and I feel like I have a string mop. Like, you know those mops, the big ones with like the loops of string? Like if you took one of those and you just set it on top of my head, that's kind of what my hair looks like when I don't do much to it. It smells clean. I used a different shampoo today, and I'm not sure how I like it yet. We'll see. My daughter's home from her program at International House of Prayer for a week, and she has very curly hair, and she brought home her shampoo, and I tried it today, which was kind of a risk. So clean hair, no makeup, that's what you get today. How is everybody, and how's your weather? Here in southern Missouri, it is hot again, in the 90s all week long, heat index of around 100. Sticky. I've been interpreting a job I will be interpreting it for a total of 4 weeks with other interpreters, and it's outside, and I was just like by like 15 minutes. It was nasty. So glad I had time to go home and shower. And Rebecca, you didn't get to get over there. Yeah, I would have liked to. The chat is not showing, says pocket change. There's you have options to, if you click on, I do it on my phone, so it's kind of different. On my phone, if your phone is turned sideways, at the bottom there's a little, looks like a chat bubble, and you have the choice of live chat or top chat. And if you're on a computer, it's on the right hand side, and if you select top chat, it will filter out which comments you get to see. If you choose live chat, you'll see all comments. And also on the right hand side over there, if you're on a computer, you can choose to pop the chat out. So you can actually have two windows, one with the video and one with the chat going on. So whatever works for you. Let me know if that helped you or if there's another issue. Is everybody else seeing the chat? I saw Kathy Leach popped in. Hello, glad you're here. Hi, Lynn. Lynn is having hot weather in southeast Iowa. Look. All right, you got it working good. Okay, there just might not have been many comments yet because people are just starting to join in. So sometimes it takes a little while for the chat to be going. How's everybody else's weather? How's your weather in Nevada, Rebecca? And pocket change? If you don't mind, you may have told me before. If you have, I've forgotten. Do you mind sharing your first name with us and where you're watching from? I prefer to call people by their name rather than their channel name if it's not the same, because then I feel more like I'm talking to a person, because pocket change doesn't sound like a person. And plus, it's just nice to know people's names. So for those of you who may be new to the channel, Greg. Ooh, in Canada, Saskatchewan. Okay, so I know sorry, now my brain is gonna freeze because I know where British Columbia is on the Pacific coast, and then on the far east, you've got like that island, and those are really the only two I know, and then Quebec is in the middle. So where are you located in reference to one of those places? Sorry, geography is not my strong suit for sure, but I will look it up after this and find out. Hey Laura, glad you could join us. And I saw somebody else came in. Let's see, Linda is watching from Ohio, where it is hot and 90 degrees. Same, fist bump. I don't know if we can celebrate that though, it's kind of, ugh. All right, in Nevada, where Kathy's watching from, it's 86, so it's much cooler than it has been. And Rebecca said, you're in the Carson area, right, where she is, that it was 48 this morning and had to break out a cardigan. Yeah, for sure. All right. Let's see. All right. I think that's everybody who's commented. I'm so glad you're here. Hey, the Red Shed. Red Shed. Oh, forgive me. Diana. I'm thinking that's right. I know I do it every week. I'm like, I need to come up with a mnemonic so that I can remember your name. Because that's bad. You're here every single time. Cairo, Georgia. So you probably win for humidity, for sure. Let's see. I was gonna ask somebody in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I saw today that there was a tornado there. Is anybody experiencing the storms in that part of the country? So Laura, I know where Atlanta is. So in reference to Atlanta, where is Chastain? Yeah, so I'm in south, really kind of south central Missouri, actually. And just kind of east of Branson and Springfield, if you know where those are, outside of a little tiny town called Ava. And we are a garden zone, U.S. Gardening Zone 6B. And by the way, did any of you guys see Am I Gardener's thing about gardening zones and how most of us got it wrong? That was entirely new information for me, and I was like, oh my goodness, I had no idea. So you've had rain the last 3 days. 53 Fahrenheit. Oh, thank you for doing the conversion for us. All right. Let's see. You're on the prairie in the middle of Canada. Oh, okay. Cool, cool. So those of you who are a little bit farther north of me, is your growing season just about over then? In Canada, I think Chelsea, my friend from Little Mountain Ranch, she's in BC, and she said they usually have frost by now, but they haven't yet. So I'm wondering, is all of Canada having a warmer, like a longer summer? Here in the States, we call that an Indian summer. I don't know why. Or have you already had your first frost up there yet? And what about you, Rebecca and Kathy in Nevada? Is your growing season coming to a close, or are you guys still in the garden? I'm gonna get in the garden this weekend. I really want to get in some of my cool weather crops. You're as South Georgia as you can go. Oh, so you're like right there by Florida or Alabama. So you're pretty much a Gulf state, just about. Yeah, that's humid for sure. I went to college in Louisiana in Baton Rouge, so I understand that humidity. And I graduated from high school in Alaska. So where, a hot day is like 78, 80, and it's super, super dry, almost no humidity there at all. And I got on a plane at night and I flew overnight, and I got off a plane in Baton Rouge at 8 a.m. and I walked outside the terminal, and it was like, woo. I felt like I had walked into a sauna at a gym. I could not believe how hot it was. I was like, I can't breathe. So yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad there. Your daughter was born in Anchorage. Nice. What year? She was only probably born 1 year. I was there from let's see, we moved there in 1982, and I graduated high school in 89, but my parents were still there. And then so I would go home summers and stuff from college. And then my folks moved from there when my daughter was about 18 months, and she was born in 01, so probably 02, 03. So, a good long chunk, a good 10 years that I would go back home to visit and stuff. So I still, even though I lived in LA for 20 years after that, after college and everything, before moving here, I still think of Alaska as home. And every time I go back and visit, I went for my high school reunions for my 10th and my 20th. I didn't make our 30th. Our 30th was this year. And I didn't make it. Wait, was it 30 or 25? Yeah, 9 and 9. So, but every time I go back and visit, I want to move back. but you know, that's because I only visit in the summer. And then I remember, oh yeah, winter. Anchorage is pretty nice though, as far as weather goes, because we're in a basin. So there's ocean, and then there's the basin, and then there's mountains. And that kind of creates a mini climate of warm, and they get the warm winds that come from Japan. So in Southern California, they called them, what do they call them? I already forgot. But they call them Chinook winds in Alaska, and in SoCal. I can't believe I forgot what they call. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. So the winds and the ocean both, yeah, Santa Ana winds, keep the weather pretty temperate, pretty mild. Yeah, so no, an El Nino year is like a storm season year. It's the Santa Ana winds are what they call those. So it keeps, so Anchorage is fairly mild, and Alaska is such a big state that if the farther you go inland, the more extreme temperatures you have. So like Fairbanks gets down to -40, -45 Fahrenheit, up close to 100, and so forth. So in Anchorage, it wasn't so bad. So Greg, watching from Saskatchewan, I hope I pronounced that right, in the prairie in Middle Canada, you probably get much more extreme weather than we had in Alaska. But I still don't want to live there. I get plenty of seasons in Missouri. I'm kind of happy. I'm happy where I am. It's very green and things grow and it's lovely, even though we have snakes and spiders, which I did not have to deal with in Alaska. All right, let's see who else has joined and if there's any comments going on. A. Hackett, hi, welcome, glad you're here. You say that Santa Ana winds are from the inland out. That wasn't my understanding, but I could be wrong. Sometimes I'm wrong. I'll check later. Laura went to Alaska on a cruise. It was awesome, nice. So the cruises are kind of cool. You go up what they call the inland passage. So Alaska, like if you think of it like a hand, maybe like probably like this way from your view. So Alaska's like this, and then there's islands coming out here. These are the Aleutians. There's another chain of islands that come right down here next to Canada. So Canada's all this way, right? And so when you take a cruise, you kind of cruise up like this through all the islands. It's absolutely beautiful. There's glaciers and whales and all sorts of stuff. And then the people who do the really expensive cruises, when they get up here, they get off and they take a train or they take some kind of vehicle to Anchorage, which is like right here in the little crook of the thumb. And then they take a train or bus or whatever right up here to the middle, and they go to Mount Denali, which was called Mount McKinley for a while. They changed the name back to the original name that it was given by the natives, and then you get to see Denali National Park, and it's absolutely stunning. So if you ever do a cruise, that's pretty cool. So I said on my title and my description that we were going to talk about fall. So how many of you are thinking about a fall garden? It's kind of weird to think about fall. Fall starts officially September, what, 21st, 22nd? And I haven't got anything in the ground yet, but it still feels so stinking hot. So I have an area that's been covered for probably most of the year in plastic. That was part of my garden last year. So I want to do carrots, kale, maybe some spinach, some lettuces. And what I'm thinking I might do is do straw bales around it, and then do some buy some old glass doors or windows and kind of do cold frames, an inexpensive cold frame for those. I'm trying to think what else I wanted to do. I forget. All right, so I see that Greg is talking about the weather. I was looking at somebody else's comment and saw your name come up. All right, so Laura started some seedlings and Kathy has seeds in pots, but don't think I will see it since I'll be moving to Missouri. You're not gonna try and move a bunch of seedlings with you? Why wouldn't you wanna do that? Just, there's room in the moving truck, right? Yeah, or are they in the ground and you're gonna just leave it for the new homeowners? So Kathy has been searching for a home here in Missouri and actually had a sale that was gonna happen and then everything backed out. So if you guys could be in prayer for her, that she and her husband will find their forever homestead. and that they can get moved. I know she's been wanting to do that for a long time. Saskatchewan's hottest temperature was 104 Fahrenheit in July for 3 weeks. And their last one of the extreme cold was negative 58. Yes, why do you live there still? What is the draw for you? I'm sure there must be very good things about it. It's probably pretty sparsely populated. It might be inexpensive. I don't know. Alaska's really expensive, even though it has that extreme temperatures. So I want to tell you guys a story about the only time that I was in negative 40-degree weather ever. Because in Anchorage, it mostly stays in the teens. It's actually, Chicago is usually colder than Anchorage is, which people are surprised to find out, but it's because of the reasons I said. So when I was in college, and so was my brother, my dad worked in construction, and he would go to remote sites, and then Anchorage was kind of our home base, so we always rented. And then my dad would go out and work at these jobs and then come home and then go. He was like a superintendent for a large construction company, so he'd be gone. And usually, and that's very common actually in Alaska. People who work on the oil fields or shrimp boats, or different shrimp boats. They don't do shrimp in Alaska, like the crab boats and the other fishing boats. They'll go work 3 weeks, a month, 6 weeks, and then they come home for a week or two. So that's very, very common in Alaska for people to do that. So my dad had done that doing construction. Well, when my brother and I went away to college, my mom decided that depending on where my dad would go, there's no reason she couldn't travel with him to some of these places. Some of the places there wasn't really facilities, but like they went to a tiny little place called King Salmon. They lived there for a couple years. They rented a house. They went to Fairbanks. He was based out of Fairbanks for a while. And so this particular Christmas break, they were in Fairbanks, and my brother and I both flew up there to be home for Christmas, and it was negative 40 something outside. And we went to, I think, a Fred Meyer's. So for those of you who aren't West Coast, Fred Meyer's is kind of like a regional Walmart or Kmart, but better, a little bit nicer. And it was before there were many Costco's and Sam's Clubs around, so it was kind of like where people would go to do a lot of their bulk kind of shopping or their household type shopping. And we went over there, and we were there, I don't know, maybe an hour or something. And when we were leaving, my brother said, "I'll just walk home." And my dad said, "Are you sure? Do you know how cold it is?" And he goes, "Yeah, but it's like what? It's about half a mile. I need some exercise. I'm gonna walk home." And my mom looked at my dad and she's like, "Honey, don't let him do it. Don't let him do it." And my dad's like, "He's an adult. It's not that far. If he wants to walk home, he can do it." Well, negative 45 is seriously cold. Seriously cold, like at risk for hypothermia if you're not well prepared for the weather. I mean, it's not the kind of weather you want to take a jog in at all. And it was snowy and icy, so you had to walk carefully. And he got to the apartment where they were living at the time, and when he came in the door, he just said, "If I ever say I want to walk anywhere and it's negative 40 out, just tell me no." Just tell me no. It was not exactly a good experience for him. So that was kind of funny. The bravado of youth. You think that you are impenetrable, or you know what I mean. Like he just said, "Oh, it's no big deal. Negative 45. It'll just be a nice little walk home." It was not a nice little walk home at all. It's horrible. Now, having said that, I do want to say that winters in Louisiana, for me, were 10 times worse than winters in Alaska, and I will explain why. When I lived in Alaska, the weather there is dry. There's no humidity. So if it's cold, if it's in the teens, you layer up. You got your undershirt, a t-shirt, a hoodie, and a jacket, gloves, hat, socks, boots. You're good to go. You can be outside for a long time and be fairly comfortable. I mean, we would be taking stuff off, especially if we were active outside. Not a big deal at all. And then I went to Louisiana, where their coldest temperatures might be in the 40s. I don't know that it ever got below freezing when I was there, but it's like 95% humidity. It feels like you're breathing in icicles when it gets down to like just around 40, 38, 40 degrees. It is miserable, and you can't layer up wet against wet air. It just feels wet and damp and cold, and like I was gonna die because daggers were like shooting through my lungs every time I tried to take a breath. And then in the summer in Louisiana, it's so incredibly hot and it's 95 degrees. I didn't want to do anything. We would go from air conditioned car to air conditioned mall to air conditioned dorm to air conditioned this. So it was very odd for me because in Alaska, Anchorage is a very outdoorsy community. We rode our bikes everywhere, all over the city. We stayed up, and you have the later summer hours and stuff. So we'd stay up and we'd play tennis till 1 or 2 in the morning, and we went hiking up in the mountains, and we'd go fishing, and we'd do this and we'd do that. And in Louisiana, it's like swimming pool, indoor movie theater, indoor this, indoor that. So it was a big change for me in lots of ways. All right, let's see what people have had to say. So Greg says his parents live totally off grid and have all their lives. And I have done the same, solar and wind generators, and grew all of our own food. That's absolutely amazing. I'm going to have to flip over and check out your channel after this. I'd love to learn more about that. That's fantastic. Hello, Howie. Thanks for stopping in. Actually, I think you said you had to step away for a minute. When you come back, I will say something. Yeah, so Rebecca says she has the same experience where it's dry, and they're in the mountains in Nevada. It's cold, but it's dry weather, so it's completely different experience. So Laura in Georgia probably is colder than you get when you have snow, just in my opinion. So we're talking about fall garden. Oh, we have turkeys that we need to harvest. I don't know what we're gonna do. I haven't decided for sure, because our basic deal is on the smaller animals, Chris will do the harvesting and I will do the raising of them. So like the rabbits, he's just gonna harvest them by himself. Rabbits are pretty simple. The bigger animals we take to butcher. When he harvested a deer from the wild, he brought it in the house. It was already cleaned and quartered. So it was basically 4 big chunks of meat, like 4 parts, like the hind quarters, the 2 hind quarters, and the 2 front quarters. No head, no fur or skin or guts or nothing, just the meat on the bones. And it was time to what are we gonna do, sausage, what are we gonna do, steaks, all that kind of stuff. And the girls were helping, and I was standing there trying to help, and I was just like the odor of it, the sight of it. And I would help for food and then be like, okay, I have to go take a breath, I'll be back. I'd go breathe and I'd come back. And eventually the 3 of them just said to me, just go away, Mom. You're not really helping. Just go upstairs and do something else. So I am not really good with the processing of animals. And it's not an emotional thing. It's actually just a physical reaction to the process of it. I have a difficult time with that. And I have been to friends' house to process chickens, like to see how I could do it. And they had several people. So they had somebody doing the dispatching, and then somebody doing their feather thing. And they had one of those whiz bang things where it spins around and the little fingers take the feathers off. If any of you don't know what a whiz bang is, say something in the comments and I'll tell you more about that. So they did that, and then they would bring the chicken, and it would already not have the legs on it, would not have the head on it, and it was just like the chicken body, no feathers. Then they had the scrapers and all the stuff to, get it all out. And so I was on that part of it, and that was a little difficult. I could do it. What was one of my jobs? The thing with all the rocks in it where the chickens process, I don't know, their gullet or whatever, and you have to turn it inside out and clean it out, and they use that as dog food. So they had that, but then I had to take my hand in and clean out 1 or 2 of them, and it was just like it was very difficult to do. So I don't know about processing these turkeys. Hello, Teresa. Oh, it is a gizzard. Okay, good. Thanks. Welcome, Teresa. I'm glad you're here. So we only have 3 turkeys, but I think that that's probably more than Chris will want to do on his own. We also don't have a whiz bang. We don't have one of those cones. And I'm not really sure how much money to invest in it because I don't know whether we're going to want to raise turkeys in the future. We also don't do meat chickens because Chris can't eat chicken. So that's why we're doing meat rabbits. So we don't need that equipment like the whiz bang and all of that to process chickens because we're not going to do it regularly enough unless for some reason we decide to do that as a business venture rather than, it would not provide meat for our family. So I feel like we will probably end up hand plucking, and that's a lot of work for just one person. So I feel like I need to be there to help him that day, and that's going to be really hard for me. So Teresa said, so skin them. Yeah, we talked about skinning them. We did actually talk about that. We have 3, and that might be a route we go. One thing that we thought about was, though, is that you don't get the skin. Obviously, if you skin them, then you don't have that nice crispy skin like for Thanksgiving dinner. So maybe we pluck one and we skin the rest. I don't know. I'm just not sure how I can handle it. I guess I'm just gonna have to power through, because both girls are away at college, so it's me. I am the helper. That's maybe I can talk April Williams or Kelly, my friend Kelly, to come do it for me. Which would be horrible. Can you come pluck chickens for me or turkeys for me since I don't want to do it? It's so funny. Hi Liz, thanks for joining in. Libby's Chicken Ranch is here. Hello Libby, thank you for joining. Did I miss anybody else? Has anybody else popped in? Howie, are you back yet? I know you said be right back. So Liz, we are just talking about the fact that I have 3 turkeys to process, but I'm not really good at processing animals. It's a little bit difficult for me. And so I don't know if I'm going to be much help to Chris. But maybe if I talk him into skinning it. Teresa, that might be a good option. Do you have a recipe for that? Maybe you could send me a recipe by email. And then how do you... Okay, so here are some questions, some practical questions that I have about that. Like, our turkeys are big. I mean, Big Tom's going to be a big turkey. Do you need to really put the bacon around the whole thing, or do you just put it over the breast? So if you have more details about that, I would like to. I'll look up some recipes too afterwards, but that might be a good option. Do we have neighbors that could help? Maybe. Most of our neighbors are working. And for just 3 turkeys, I'm not sure. Maybe if I offer them a jar of honey or something instead, because I'm going to harvest honey this weekend. Oh yeah, sorry Rebecca, I saw you said that earlier and then I forgot. Could I rent the tools from a local Granger and extension office around here? We have that option. I don't know about that. I don't know. That's a possibility. But again, it's like, since we're only doing 3, do I want to put out that expense? If I was doing like several chickens, like let's say 25 or 30 chickens or something, and I had friends come help, well then I just send them home with a couple chickens, and I feel like that would be worth their time to come. Yeah, but I only have 3 turkeys. I don't want to give away one of my 3 turkeys. That's what I'm saying about that. If we had more, then maybe. But if we only have 3, I would like to be able to provide a turkey for my in-laws. Oh, I need to update you guys. So this is a big, huge change of topic. So for those of you who are new to my channel, maybe if one of my mods can look back at the Papa's log cabin build, specifically the most recent video that we did in it. And I don't even know what the name, it might be a tour of their cabin or something. The most recent video we did was when a lot of you met my father-in-law, and most of you who have been watching for a while know that about a month ago my father-in-law fell off a shed roof, and he is 76, 74, maybe he's in his 70s. I forget exactly how old. Maybe 72. Regardless, he's in his 70s. He's a powerhouse of a man. He built this log cabin from the ground up. And when he fell off this roof, he was home alone, and his phone fell away from him, and it took him like 15 minutes just to get to his phone because he was in so much pain on his, he fell on this part of his body right here, so head, neck, shoulders. And so he was taken to a local hospital where they did a bunch of tests, MRI, CAT scans, just to make sure there's no internal bleeding, no broken bones. And by the grace of God, he was okay in that regard. But during the testing, they found a heart aneurysm. And I forget what they call it, which one they call it, an arterial. So it was in one of his arteries. And they airlifted him to Oklahoma City. And when the cardiologist met him there and then looked at everything, he said, well, we don't need to do anything right now, like no emergency surgery. Go on home and follow up. So in a way, the fall turned out to be providential because I don't think he was having pains that would send him to the hospital or to the doctor to get it checked out. And so had he not fallen, he might have ended up with a heart attack. We don't know. I mean, you never know in these cases. But after having follow-ups with the doctor, he is going to have open heart surgery. And that will probably be later this month or in October. So his first name is Fred. So if you guys could keep him in your prayers, we'd appreciate that. And Chris will be going over there, and Leslie will be going over there. So I think that is about it. I just wanted to give you guys that update for those of you who have been following along. I know that some of you have been praying for him and were wondering how he's doing. So I wanted to share that with you also. Let me see if I missed anything. Any comments? Teresa, where are you? Are you in Missouri? Have we talked about where you are before? I'm sorry. Sometimes I forget where people are from. All right. So let's see. Yeah, so Chris says he can... Oh, you're in West Plains. Gotcha. Yeah, so I'm outside of Ava. So not too far. Right. Yeah, just about an hour. I've been over there for work several times. Not recently, though. Oh, did Little Creek Homestead pop in? Hi, Vicky and Sammy. How are you guys doing? Where are you? I didn't see a comment from you. Let me just check real quick and make sure I'm on live chat. All right. I don't know why I didn't see her pop in. Probably because I was talking. So we've got that. So we have the turkeys to process. We also have the rabbits to process, but Chris is going to do that. And I think I'm going to breed the rabbits one more time. I would like to breed them soon, like this week, so that they'll have October babies, because even then, November, December, January is going to... Wait, they're not pregnant that long. October. You can come in, Tate. It's fine.
Talk.
Come on in, Tate.
What?
You can come in if you want to. So, hi, bud. Come on over here. You want to say hi to the people who are watching the show? Come here. All right. So, did you guys watch my Day on a Farm video that was narrated by children? This is Tate. He was one of the boys that was happy to talk about chickens. Yeah? What was your favorite part of watching the farm video?
The chickens.
The chickens were your favorite? Yeah? So my friends are saying, hi, Tate. Hi, Tate. And lots of people saying hi to you. What have you been doing today?
I'm just going to school and playing at school and all that stuff at school.
Yeah? What's your favorite thing about school?
Napping.
Oh, yeah. Napping is my favorite, too. All right, do you want to stay in here or do you want to go back out?
Well, I really want to stay in here.
You want to stay in here?
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
sit.
Right, you gonna sit right there?
I'll play.
Oh, you want to play? Okay, as long as you play quiet, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, so I think somebody said end of February. You gonna play with that?
You have to talk on it.
You do.
I have.
You wanna? Why don't you take it out there with Granny and play with it out there? You wanna do that?
Granny's not here yet.
Or Papa?
Papa's house, yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Yes. So that's what I was thinking. So if I breed them now, then baby's in October, and then 8 weeks later to processing time, right? 8 to 10, depending on their weight. What weight do you guys process the rabbits at when you process them? Ours are mostly grass-fed with some feed supplemented, so I think they're a little bit on the thin side. Might need to feed them a little bit more. So, but here's my dilemma about breeding them right now. Thanks Miss B for posting that. My dilemma is that it's okay, no problem. Is that it's so hot right now, I don't actually know if they can breed. Like, it's 100 degrees outside, so I don't know. I need to wait till it cools off a bit. I think that boy rabbits can actually go sterile for a little bit when it's this hot. So I don't know if breeding would even take. So those of you who have rabbits, let me know. Yeah, it's like in the upper 90s with a heat index of 100 and something, so it's crazy. Yeah, Liz, I know I'm not anxious for winter for sure, but I wouldn't mind having a little bit of fall weather. So what do you guys think? What temperatures are good breeding temperatures, and when will it be too cold? We usually have our first frost in October. And then I don't know when it gets really cold. Our November and December aren't really our coldest months. Our coldest months are really January, February. So I think babies might do okay, but I don't know. I really need some advice. So what do you guys think about that? And then did anybody answer yet at what age or weight you typically butcher? I don't think I saw anything yet about that. So Teresa says 8 weeks. Anybody else? Is that the right time? If that's the case, it's probably coming up really soon. We could do turkeys and rabbits in one day and get it done. I think I can probably do the part of the rabbits where, after they're just the meat, and then put them in the freezer and stuff. So that's some of our fall plans. 8 to 12 weeks. Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking too. Do you go by weight or do you go by age? I have California New Zealand cross, and I have some pure New Zealands. So depending on which bucks I breed to which does, they'll either be those. Mostly New Zealand though. So I have one litter now that they're right at about, I think they're right at about 6 to 8 weeks. Jerry's saying, hoping to be on my place by October. Nice. Good deal. Let's see. Breed, age, and weight. So around what weight would you guys be looking for the live rabbit? And then how much meat will that translate to? I really appreciate having communal support a lot. So there's 18 people here now. Oh my goodness. Hi. Who hasn't said hi? Did I miss anybody except for Vicky? Sorry, Vicky. Let's see. Oh, creating a simpler life. Hello, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Let's see. I think everybody else that said something I said hi to. So if you haven't said hi yet, tell us who you are and where you're watching from. And oh, Bayou Homestead. What Bayou are you? Bayou? That sounds like such a strange word to say. Louisiana, maybe? And Kathy, Creating Simpler Life. Kathy, hi Kathy, thanks. Bye, thank you for hanging out with us. And Kathy's in New York. North of Shreveport, okay. So I have a family in West Monroe, and then I went to school in Baton Rouge. So I'm a little bit familiar. I can say things like Thibodeau or Natchitoches, which is like, if you look at the way it's spelled like Nacogdoches or something. UK Here We Grow is here. Hello, Tony. Thanks for joining us tonight. We were but earlier we were talking a little bit about the fall garden. I'm wanting to get some fall gardening stuff. How about start some fall plants for my garden? I'm wanting to plant some stuff in my garden for fall, but it's so stinking hot right now that I have a hard time getting out there. But I know that all of a sudden it's going to be like hot, cold. So in spring, we didn't really have spring. We had winter, summer. And so I'm so afraid that I'm going to have that same experience, and that I'm like putting off getting stuff in the ground, and I'm going to be like, all of a sudden it's going to be too late. So I really want to make sure I get some stuff in the ground. So I'm hoping for this weekend that I get to do that. I am in Missouri. I'm in zone 6B, and I'm outside of Springfield, Branson. So Springfield and Branson are kind of north-south of each other, and I'm over about an hour east of there. So let's see. Teresa says, I'm in town right now and they fog the neighborhood 2 to 3 times a week this year. So I go to the farmer's market this year. Yeah, it's interesting in Louisiana. They drive around in trucks and spray for mosquitoes. I've never lived anywhere else that does that. It's very strange. Very, very strange. So are you coming to the farmer's market over here, Teresa, in Ava? Yeah, what I just described, Liz, that's fogging. Yeah, they're spraying for bugs. So I don't know if I'm actually going to do my starts inside, or if I'm just going to put them in the ground, seeds in the ground, because that's what I have time to do. But I think what I'll do is I will do some straw bales around, either down the rows or around the perimeter, and then get some old glass windows or old glass doors and make like little mini cold frames, so that if it does go straight to winter, at least I have something to kind of protect the plants and not lose them. Oh, you go to farmer's market in West Plains. Do they have a nice farmer's market there? I haven't ever been to it. I've been to the Springfield one. Well, Springfield has like three or four that I've been to, and I've been to one in Ozark and Marshfield and Branson. So, and actually Ava's is pretty good compared to all the smaller ones. Springfield has a really big one, but it is so incredibly packed all the time that I don't go there. Plus Ava's is so good, and I can support Kevin and Sarah. All right. I saw okra flowers for the first time this year. I've never seen them, and they're absolutely stunning. And I didn't realize that they're in the same families as those tropical flowers that are so beautiful. That the name slipped my mind because, you know, I'm supposed to speak English for a living, but sometimes I forget words. And then I saw somebody talking about spraying. I think Tony said something about it. So I went to India in, let's see, how old were my girls? That's how I judge everything. Is there anybody, other parent in the house, that you judge when something was by how old your kids were at the time? So I flew to, hey April, glad you can make it. I flew to India, and when we were when we were coming home, so when was it? So the girls would have been like 4 and 6, which would have been around 93, 94-ish. No. 2003, 2004-ish. And when Chris and I were flying back home on the plane, they actually came on the plane. We had sat so long, there were mosquitoes on the plane. And they said, all right, everybody close your eyes. We're gonna walk through the plane and spray for mosquitoes. And they like sprayed down the aisle right over our heads. And it was orange scented, it smelled very lovely, but who knows what was in it. All right, and creating a simpler life, you told me your name up there and I already forgot it. I'll have to go back through and watch it again. Oh, I hate when I do that. I really do try to learn people's names because it's so much nicer than calling you by your channel name. It's nice to know people. Let's see. I think I'm missing some comments. If you guys want to say something to me and want me to see it for sure, if you could put it in all caps, because a lot of times there's cross conversations going on, and that way I'll know if it's lowercase, like regular typing, then you guys are talking to each other. If it's all caps, I'll try to pay attention to those. I don't always have, yes, hibiscus, thank you, Laura. Thank you. I don't always have this many people in my life that I lose track of the conversation going by, but tonight I do. Kathy, thank you, Kathy. So what's for dinner, Lorella? Oh, that's such a bad question. I had Taco Bell. I know I'm supposed to be doing better, and I am doing better. I'm doing much better than I was. But I actually did a lot of food prep on Sunday. And I made like really good protein, like almond butter, coconut oil, little balls with some cocoa and stuff in it, and I made those. And I made a breakfast casserole that I've been taking, and I've been drinking more water and less sweet tea and all that. Wednesdays are so hard though. I have to do something on Wednesdays because I work until 1. Like 1 is my hard cutoff. I've told everybody that I contract with I will not take any afternoon jobs. But then I come home and I have to do all the afternoon chores and then get here to church to do this live stream because I don't have the internet at home. So I do it. That's why it's on Wednesdays, is because I have church at 7, but I have to be here early because I work with the girls on Wednesday nights. All right, so big explanation. But in between chores and coming here for the live stream, I also do egg deliveries. So egg deliveries are a big part of my afternoon, and so I usually just like grab a Taco Bell. And I know, it's probably not real meat. It's probably some kind of like chemical crap that's just like pieced together, but I really like it. I could eat Taco Bell just about every day. It's really sad. It's pretty sad. So I have been doing much better. I've been eating a whole food diet mostly. I say that, and then I realized that last night Chris brought home pizza because we both worked really late, and he was, we were driving home, and he sent me a text that said, I'm bringing home pizza. So 2 nights in a row. So 2 out of like 4 days I've had junk food. But he has, but he was being thoughtful, and he was trying to make it so that we didn't have to cook a dinner and all that. So there it is. Liz has never had Taco Bell. Interesting. Oh, so Kathy says, busy lady. How many of you saw my post yesterday about how busy is not a virtue? That was yesterday's video. So for those of you who are talking about me being busy, you can go back and watch that video. Yes, and hello, Green Dream Project is in the house. I love watching you guys work on your stuff, on your desert and your water catchment and your off-grid stuff, and everything they've got going on there is lots of fun. So you guys pop over and check out their channel if you haven't seen it yet. Thank you for stopping by the live chat. I saw another question, so we're gonna stop talking about food because tomorrow there's a video coming out. Oh, I took a picture of the number on the scale, and I share that number with you in tomorrow's video. And that may be the absolutely hardest thing I've ever done on YouTube. Because, and so some people may not have seen the video. A couple days ago, I posted one asking if you guys want to follow me on my journey to become healthier. And because it's not just the extra weight that I'm carrying around, it's the pressure it's putting on my joints and the fatigue and all of that from the extra weight. So it's not just about how I look, it's about what the weight is doing to my body at this point in my life. So, and I'm approaching it, which I didn't talk about much in the other video, but I will in the one that's coming out this week. I'm approaching it towards health. So I'm trying to cut back on processed foods, sugars, you know, and kind of eat a kind of Whole30-ish diet is what I'm calling it. My family's needs for everybody, we can eat that way better than we could do a keto or some of the other options that are out there. So trying to eat a lot more whole foods, a lot more veggies, a lot more water, you know, that kind of stuff that's really just good for you. And I've eaten this way before. Last year I did, Liz, do you remember? I think I did 30 days, right? Like between leading up to Thanksgiving. And I felt good. I had energy. I felt good and all of that. Yeah, I know, April, I know. But then when you stop, then it's hard to go back to it. So that's what I'm doing. So that's why this conversation about what's for dinner came up. And so I'm looking forward to feeling better and all of that. So that's why that came up. So, hi Danny, welcome. Glad you're here. Let's talk chickens. Somebody asked me if my chickens were laying better now. And bye Jerry, thanks for stopping by. I think, let's see what she said. If I can find it. Something, now it said, are your chickens laying better now that blah blah blah, and I missed the rest of it. Not blah blah blah, but you know, I just don't know what it was. ... So I'm gonna assume that you're talking about since I started giving the chickens some meat. So here's something interesting. My chickens don't want raw meat, which I didn't realize. I had some ham hocks that we weren't going to eat that were in the freezer, and I let them thaw out, and I gave it out to the chickens raw, and they snubbed it. They wanted nothing to do with the raw meat, and I was like, what is wrong with these chickens? So my dog got into it, and then I was afraid he was going to throw up because he will, you know, binge. So had to take it away from him, and then we tossed it far out of field for the coyotes to get, or the possums or whatever else. So then I gave them some cooked meat, and they ate some cooked meat. So I guess if I want my chickens to have meat, I will cook them. But yes, I do have some more. I am getting more eggs though. Since I have them, also I have them fenced in. So I went from about 6 to 8 a day to about 10 to 12 a day. So that's pretty good. And I don't think it had, well, I don't think it had any added salt in it. Yeah, and I was really surprised because I'm sure, you know, they're like little dinosaurs. So I was surprised by that too. I might make them like a maggot bucket or something. It's always grossed me out a bit, but I know it would be meat for them. But they're doing better. But then you guys are getting a preview of a video that will be coming out. Oh no, I think it was in yesterday's video, wasn't it? My mom called me and said, hey, did you really mean it when you said you wanted more chickens? And I said, yes, because I have a wait list for my egg customers. Good night, Teresa. Thanks for hanging out. And she said, well, guess what? I brought you home 10 more. So I was like, what? I don't have anywhere to put them, Mom. I don't have room in my coop. She goes, you can keep them up in my coop, and I will take care of them during the week. You just buy the feed, because I buy a special feed that's non-GMO and non-soy. You buy the feed. I'll take care of them during the week. You take care of them on the weekends. We live on the same property, like 300 feet apart, like a football field length, basically apart. And she said, you come take care of them on the weekends and you can have the eggs. And I was like, that is a sweet deal. Thank you, Mom. And she said, they're young. They're like a year old or less than a year old layers. And I was like, because you hear that a lot with people selling their chickens. Oh, they're only a year old. And then they stop laying after a year. You're like, yeah, sure, they were only a year. But these girls are really pretty small still. And she got them from an Amish farmer. And they were in a big chicken house. And when he loaded them in her car, one laid an egg as it was being loaded, and by the time she got home, there was another egg laid. So they are laying age, even though they're small. They're a little bit threadbare looking, like they look kind of pecked over a little bit. But I think with some of the kind of care that we give them, they'll be happy and healthy in no time. And there's no rooster in there with them right now. So they should be, the pecking hopefully will stop. So thanks, Mom. Oh, and Anne is here. Hi, Anne. I saw you stop in before, and I wanted to say hi. I'm glad you made it tonight, and I hope you are feeling much better. So Susie says, a maggot bucket? Yes. So I don't know where I first saw it. Maybe on Justin Rhodes, but also Arrow Ridge Homestead has done this. You take like a 5-gallon bucket, and you drill holes in the bottom. I don't know what size. And you put meat in it, and then flies go in there and lay eggs, and maggots are born, but I don't know what kind of flies. Like, I don't know if you have to have a certain kind of fly in your area or not. And the maggots fall out through the holes in the bottom of the bucket. And then the chickens, and you put it in the chicken car, and the chickens have fresh meat daily. So it's kind of gross. But the black soldier fly, there we go. So Tony knows it. Yeah, so I tried doing mealworms in the house, but I think I needed screening on the inside where I drilled the holes, because we have a fly problem in our house, which I hate. And so I was growing more flies than I was mealworms. And so I stopped doing that. But I think maybe if I had more screening. And then I also had a problem because we're a very humid area, that like the oats and things would get moldy really fast. So I need more holes and more screening probably, and then I might make a venture of that again, because you can sell mealworms to people who have lizards and birds and things. They'll buy it. I used to buy mealworms at the pet store. Let's see. I saw another question. So Vicky says, what is our favorite farm animal? Okay, so this is kind of weird because they're pretty much useless. But we all absolutely love our ducks. They are very, very entertaining. And I don't even have them in the garden where they're doing anything. Chris eats duck eggs because he likes, or because he can't have chicken eggs, just like he can't have chicken. I really should move one of my set pairs of ducks into the garden, and because then they could help me out in there, especially now that I don't have little tiny seedlings in there. But they're just fun to watch. And our Mr. Quackers, he's our khaki Kemble, and he is like this little tiny old man who thinks he rules the farm and owns all the water on the farm. And he talks like an old man. He's like, quack, 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 quack. And it sounds like he's saying, get off my lawn. It's just, he's adorable and fun to watch. And the other new ducks we have are beautiful. So although they're pretty much useless unless you're going to eat them or the eggs, they're fun. We really like them. Rustic Traditions is in the house. Hello. So the chickens had food off the potatoes. All right, so Tony said something, a word that I didn't know. He said, and they make frass. The ducks make frass or something else does, and I don't know what frass is. And then it says, I used to breed cockroaches for live foods. Oh, I don't know that I could do that. I don't know that I would do that. And because the maggot bucket would be stinky, that's the reason I have not done it in the past, because it's kind of gross. It grosses me out. But I guess if it were far enough away from the house, it would be okay. All right. Let's see. Apparently there was some kind of typo that I missed. By Kathy, thanks for joining in. Have a good dinner. Hope it's better than Taco Bell. I don't know anything about ducks being good guards for chickens. Our ducks actually do not live with our chickens. They live, well, they kind of do when they're free ranging, but they have their own houses separate from the chickens. I am looking forward to processing the turkeys for one reason, and that's because then I can move the other 2 ducklings. We have a flock of 3 turkeys and 2 ducklings that live together and are housed together, and I want to move the ducklings closer to our home, but they're now in the what was the pig palace, which is now the turkey Taj Mahal, and it's too big to move over close to the house. So when we'll move them into a duck house. And probably what I'm gonna do, I have what are those poofy head birds that I have? They're a type of chicken, the stupid Polish chickens that can't see, and they wander away from their house, and then it gets kind of dark and they squat down in tall grass and we have to go hunt them. And so we have kept them penned up, which we don't like to do. We like to have our birds mostly free ranging, or at least mobile coops or something, so that they get fresh grass and bugs and rocks and things. So I think what I'm gonna do is put the Polish in a tractor so we can move them around on grass, because so they won't have to be in this little grow out pen where they're in now. And then I can put the ducks in the grow out pen, and I can actually let the ducks out because they will find their way home at night. Polish chickens don't. In fact, we lost one of our Polish chickens when she didn't come home at night, and we couldn't find her anywhere. And so I'm going to pause and say thanks, Tony. Thanks to my friends in the UK who stay up so late at night to watch this. It surprises me every time that you guys are here. I appreciate it. Have a good night. And any of you who aren't watching UK Here We Grow, it's a fabulous channel. Be sure and stop over and say hey to Tony and check him out. I could move, if I put the Polish in a tractor, the ducks could have that house, and then I wouldn't have to walk out through the field to open them up and shut them up at night. I'm tired of herding turkeys in the dark, or even in the sunset, in the dusk hours, because it's far and they're slow. But at least they kind of go. They herd pretty easy. So that's what's going on here. It's been a whole hour. It's about time for me to leave and say goodnight to you guys. So, yeah, sure, Liz, we can make another coop in all my spare time. I'll just throw one together. Could do that. We could. We would like to have more coops eventually, actually, but we don't yet. So anybody have any last burning questions? I'm going to let the first person who comes in with the all caps question is going to be the last one that I answer. Everybody else can pop out. If there's no more questions, we'll say good night. And I'm really glad that you guys were all here. It was so much fun. Thanks for hanging out. I look forward to next week. Every Wednesday, 5:15 p.m., whatever time zone I'm in, Central. All right, nobody's got any questions. Good night, everybody. Thank you. I'll talk to you later. Good night, Liz. Thanks for being here. That's a good friend who stays up this late at night to hang out with you, you know?